Hi, I'm Anatole, and this is my reaction video to The Marvelous Miss Maisel Season 3, Episode 1, titled Strike Up the Band, and it scored 8.5 on IMDb. That's out of a review pool of 777 votes. And my relationship with the show, I've done a review series for the complete second season. I did a reaction video to, a reaction rewatch, I should say rewatch video for Season 1, Episode 1, and I'll go back later. I think after I've done Season 3, I'll go back and do a rewatch of Season 1. But you just get too busy with other videos. Anyways, I'm quite excited. This is one of my favorite shows on television. The writing is just amazing, and I love that it comes from pretty much two people. It comes from Amy Sherman Palladino and Daniel Palladino, so there's a very strong vision and tone to the show. And over Season 2, I learned the differences between the husband and the wife, and they each had their own strengths and weaknesses. So, and also there were each season there are a couple times they bring in the guest writers to bring in a different voice. So I'm excited to go through all that again and to pick up some of the threads that we saw in Season 2. They were cliffhangers. So coming back to Season 3, I'm excited to see where those plots are going to go. And I hope you'll join me after the intro when I will do my reaction to Season 3, Episode 1, Strike Up the Band. See you in a bit. This is just like Season 2, and it started right after Season 1. Or it's a flashback. No, it's got to be it's the end of Season 2. That's cold, man. Not even gonna wait till morning. She's saying this isn't real. Oh, she's gonna kiss him goodbye. All right. She just has a place to go. Is this a USO show? Yeah, so she's supposed to tour with Shy Baldwin. I don't know if that was part of USO or not. I think it's just a European tour, but this seems like a USO show.
So then where's your blazer? What? Your fancy new blazer? You're scared to wear it. Dry clean only.
She just wanted to be called a man again.
What if I don't know White Christmas?
Who doesn't know White Christmas?
I'm Jewish.
I'm Jewish.
Yeah, I knew she would say that. This is a man who does not get humor. I have a bad feeling about this show. I'm waiting for the joke where someone mistakes her for a man.
Red, too big. I need opening act numbers.
Phil Silver's made 12 G's a week.
As an opening act?
No, for the Phil Silver show.
Hey, do you remember the speed bag?
They don't have any comps because there haven't been any female comics opening for a singer like this.
Lenny Free had to have cheesecloth the length to open a copy of Grey's Anatomy.
Wow. Now I really want to know this.
My understanding is they do that just to make sure that they've read the contract. Because if there's not the weird thing they asked for, then it's a way, and you asked for it, then it shows they didn't really look at the contract, the people you're dealing with. That's my understanding. Something like that.
I know. $450 plus I'll be subletting my apartment to Jackie. This means I'm going to be making the most money I made since...
Jesus. Inflation.
Ever. Since ever. So we signed.
Inflation. That money, I don't even know what that would be in today's dollars. I'd have to look it up. Well, let's see how this show goes before they can make their demand of $4,500. Just throwing a little sexism.
It's a great organization. Waking up every day.
Is he going to recruit her?
Try to serve the country, you know?
Do I?
Well, have you ever thought about joining
Me? Oh, no.
So you think he's a man? Yes, I knew it. I knew there would be a joke where someone mistook her for a man.
You boys stay safe out there because you're just too cute to lose.
Yeah, it was well done. I was expecting a bomb, but no, not at all. It went really well.
We're going to work on it.
You gotta get a better intro than that. So I totally get it now why a singer would have a comedian open for them, because there's no competition. They're doing completely different things. Whereas there's the chance if you're a singer that the person before you will upstage you. I never thought about it until just now. It's going to come back on him, I know it.
You had sex!
I'm not sure what the point of that was. So you sing 1 second behind everyone else. Just like the ones I used to know.
Susie Meyer said, well, there you are. I've been looking everywhere for you. I'm over at your apartment.
The hell are you doing in my apartment? No drapes.
It's too sad. There's no feminine touch. Okay. Anyhow, I'm here and someone shows up who wants to talk to you.
They're really playing on this feminine angle of hers.
Can I call you back later?
Where are you?
At a USO show.
I don't do USO shows.
It's not for you.
Well, then I don't want to hear about it or any other excuse you might be conjuring up. I don't give a flying mare. I want an answer to my question, and I want it right now.
The wall peeling. There's a wall peeling right there.
I want you to see what our lives cost.
I know what it
Nice
costs.
outfit. Rose has a nice outfit.
Do you know one other professor who lives the way we do?
Milk is 49 cents a gallon.
Not one. They all have
These are-
lab clothes and gray skin, and they die young.
These are all questions that Reddit had posed for 2 years about where exactly is he getting the money for this apartment and all these other clothes and their lifestyle.
My birthday present.
Oh, happy.
Clothes and clothes and more clothes.
Okay, calm down, Abe.
When did I become a man who needs a linen closet?
And you got a
When did I
wife and
become
a daughter
man who has a maid? When did I
grandchildren.
change?
He's out there getting arrested in the name of free speech. He's talking about things no one has the balls to talk about. You put down comedy.
Is he going to meet Lenny Bruce?
Quit piano, you quit your marriage, you quit Benjamin. I wouldn't be surprised if you
He's
quit
gonna say
this
something he
comedy thing,
regrets.
too.
Never.
Yeah, she's made sacrifices for comedy. You don't know your daughter very well, Abe.
We'll need a couple of crowbars, a ton of sandpaper. Joel,
It's not good.
where does that door go? I never saw that door. You leased the space with the scary mystery door? No? Yes? I don't know.
Gambling den?
I'm here.
Yeah, see, I called it. I knew it.
$2.50 cover, 2 drink minimum.
Here, you take it.
No, he's going to bail. He's going to bail Lenny Bruce out of prison.
Well, look, I understand you don't like
He's
it.
gonna
I
go to
don't
prison
either,
too?
really.
That Lenny Bruce is no good for the family.
The flowers were very nice, by the way.
No, this is where he has to do a double take.
You in?
Yeah, man, true. So who else do you know? Annette Funicello?
No.
Isn't this the second time we've had Annette Funicello as a joke? Oh, nice dancing. Do they make the male performers go to this dance?
Where's Shy? I don't know. I don't see him or any of the band.
Yeah, exactly. Do the men have to go?
Like you do.
10% of these boys are going to wind up dead.
You're not even at war. What are they going to have? A car accident? Sure.
Well, soon enough they'll be in Vietnam.
I said let's go. No way.
Take a swig here, take a swig there, and then we share. Oops.
What is this? No, it's not. So you are definitely doing this. I have to.
And you lost me as a client. She hasn't signed a contract yet, right? We know these stairs quite well from previous episodes. The Weissman family has been quite good to Mr. Bruce.
Thanks. I thanked him for the flowers.
Oh, that's it. Okay, wow. I was expecting it to end there. Okay, so join me in a second. I'll give you my review of Season 3, Episode 1 in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. And for me, it's 1 day later, so in that intervening time, I watched the episode a second time. I listened to a podcast review of the episode from AfterBuzz TV, and I went through the Reddit forums, and I came up with a list of points I want to discuss in my review. So let's get to these points. The first one has to do with the time period of the episode. It doesn't explicitly state when it is, but there are clues. So first they're singing White Christmas, which is a Christmas song, so we can guess it's around December, Christmas time. And then in the background of the USO show, there is the 49-star US flag. And the 49-star U.S. flag was in existence for a period of a year, from 1959 to 1960. And we know that season 2 took place in 1959. Season 1 was 1958, and season 3, I've heard, is 1960. So I'm going to guess this episode is December, specifically December 1959, when that 49-star U.S. flag was still in use, because it was not in use in December of 1960. Then we had the 50-star U.S. flag. There is one potential anachronism, since we're discussing the details of the time period. And in the episode, Lenny Bruce talks about Psycho, and the film was released in 1960, so that would apparently be an anachronism. However, the book was released at the period of December 1959, so you can conceive that maybe he's referring to the book. Most likely it would be the movie. More people would be familiar with the movie, but it still stands. Maybe he is talking about the book Psycho. Second point I want to talk about, and that is that throughout the first 2 seasons, there was a slow consciousness that was, you could see, being developed in the whole Weissman family, including Mrs. Maisel, Midge. Each of them appears to have their own separate area of awakening. For Midge, it seems to be a lot has to do with her role as a woman. But I'm going to guess now that civil rights will become an issue, because she'll be touring with Shy Baldwin. I think she's going to be exposed to forms of racism that she had in her bubble she was not really aware of. And the reason I say that is because her performance at the USO show, I was guessing it was going to go poorly, but because it went so well, where else can the showrunners take her career that involves some amount of conflict? Either she's going to begin bombing really hard, or she will do well, but there will be within her sphere of the career some sort of conflict that she needs to address. And I'm going to guess it's going to be between her and Shy Baldwin. And we saw a little bit of that tension when she forgot to introduce him onto the stage. So either there'll be conflict, direct conflict between her and Shy as they tour, or there will be conflict between Shy and his environment that it begins to draw Midge in, or maybe both. But I'm guessing that's where it's going to go, because we've seen her skills evolve, and I think part of that evolution we see when she forgets to be the proper MC and bring Shy onto stage. I think that's part of her evolution as her talent as a comedian. So where's the conflict going to be if everything's going so well? And I think one of those things is going to be that social awakening, because we also see each character. We haven't seen it for Rose this season. It's a little early for her, but we see it in Abe when Abe gets introduced to Lenny Bruce. And we saw at the end of last season he became unhappy with his role as a professor at Columbia, and he wanted to bring in more of the social justice aspect that was part of his earlier life and earlier career. And we see him approach the lawyer, the civil lawyer, at the end of season 2, and here we see him beginning to maybe take up the cause of freedom of speech through the arts by his going to see Lenny Bruce. And that was a nice way to tie in Lenny Bruce back into the season, I thought. So all those areas, the only thing is Rose. I don't know where Rose will be part of the bubble that they live in, how that bubble begins to break down. We do see the scene of the finances where, and this was a question that was posed on Reddit many times, is where are they getting their money? How do they afford this suite, this Upper West Side suite that they seem to have through only the salary of Abe's career as a professor at Columbia. And slowly things are beginning to be explained. He didn't own the penthouse, and a lot of the things that were part of his lifestyle were provided for through Rose's trust fund. So slowly this bubble, this fantasy has begun to, the curtain has been lifted in many ways, and reality is beginning to be become apparent. The financial reality of the lifestyle they were leading was not sustainable. Something that a couple people on Reddit pointed out, we learned that Moish and Shirley are going to be moving to Queens because Moish wanted to have a nice backyard and a nice tree, and apparently that was a thing. People wanting to live a suburban lifestyle but be close to the center of Manhattan would move to Queens, where real estate was only just beginning to be developed and you could get a house with a backyard. Sophie Lennon, I don't believe this issue about the jealousy that Midge feels for Susie managing Sophie Lennon, I think is justified, because we see when Midge begins to talk about the busy day she had managing Midge at the USO engagement, and Sophie Lennon cuts her off and says, well, that's not about me. I only care about me. We see that it would be impossible, at least I'm guessing, impossible for Susie to manage both Sophie and Midge. And the reason she has to do it is she's feeling pressure from Sophie, and she needs the money. Midge is not enough to provide for her. And I do like how at first it was the tale of the upstairs, downstairs, the tale of two cities, that Midge came from the life of privilege, and Susie's life was one of hand scrabble existence, doing anything she could to just get ahead. And now slowly we're getting into the 60s, and the things that were the concerns of the 60s, economic justice, social justice, civil justice, gender equality, these are all beginning to slowly but surely make their way into the series, just as they had within the United States. And we see that here through the career of Midge. Everything about that is present. When Susie asks her agent friends for a good comp on what she should be putting into the contract to Susie, they can't come up with a number because be putting into the contract of Midge. They can't do that for Susie because there is no comp. We haven't heard mention of the comedian that is often compared to for Midge, and that is Joan Rivers. That would be the only fair comp, but how many people would be aware of the contract that Joan Rivers would have at that point? Probably none. And we haven't heard of Joan as a living being in this world. She should be. The only thing that's different really so far is the existence of Midge and her friends, but we haven't heard talk of Joan Rivers. So what other comp would there be? And that's because female comics did not make their way easily in this world. So why would Susie or her creative agent friends know what the comp would be? And I think I've covered all the points, pretty much all the points I wanted to, and we're at about 10 minutes, so that's a fair review. Anyway, thank you for joining me for both my reaction and my review. I hope you'll join me again on this channel. Until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.